So the madman did it once again. His trade rhetoric came through with the EU. So, as you all know, Trump set tariffs on a whole bunch of economic zones, a bunch of countries to get a better trade situation with the United States. So, a lot of these countries had tariffs on the United States that were higher than what the US had on them. They were able to export to the United States market, but firms here in the US couldn't do it so easily to other countries, and US firms couldn't get their economies to scale. They weren't able to compete with firms around the world because of various factors, including currency manipulation, tariffs, and cheap labor and environmental regulations, etc. So the European Union had much higher tariffs on the United States than what we had on them. So, and the way that works a little bit, I'll get to it in a minute. So the EU finally caved, which is a fantastic bit of good news. The EU is a major trading partner of the United States, and they agreed to have zero tariffs on any goods being exported from the United States to the EU, and have a flat 15% tariff of goods being exported to the United States. So having it being a flat tariff instead of multiple various tariffs, depending on the industry, is good because in the EU, the European Union, those economies are all very regulated, and having that degree of predictability is good for them. Therefore, they can have a fair amount of stability if they know exactly what they're in for. They know it's a 15% tariff. They know that goods can come into the United States. It's a flat tariff. It's not like you got 50% on autos and 20% on small appliances. So the other part of this deal is that they promised $600 billion, $600 billion in investment. Just give me 1 second here if I get the figures right. Yeah, $600 billion in investment and $750 billion of energy over the next 7 years that they're going to buy from the United States. So the EU has already been buying energy from the United States because of what's going on in Russia. And the investment, there's been a lot of investment going to the United States, particularly from Germany, because their industry requires cheap energy, such as their petrochemical industry. Because the way that works is you need natural gas, like the compounds of natural gas that they crack it and do all sorts of stuff with. I don't know the technical details, but they process that to produce chemicals. Well, they can't do it because of what's going on with Russia. So they transplanted that industry from Germany to the United States, where they have access to cheap energy, and they export the goods back to Germany for further processing. So this has been sort of going on already. But again, this is good news. This is over the course of 7 years. You're talking about over $1 trillion of investment of money coming from Europe into the United States. So this is fantastic news. And I would say congratulations for the Trump administration. So this is the EU, Japan, and Vietnam. And I don't think that there's any... I'm sure there's other countries, but I don't know right offhand. The big one is going to be China, and that's going to be a tougher nut to crack. But anyway, I'll put a link in the description below of the news story.